Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Coffee, Community, and Cocktails. I'm your host, Angela McFarland, and I'm very excited that today I have with us some of my oldest friends in the world, family also, and one of my favorite metal bands, Corners of Sanctuary. So, boys, thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having us.
So we have James Lapira. He's the bass player. We have Mad T. He's the drummer. And we have Mick Michaels, and he is the guitar player. And Frankie is somewhere far upstate or something, right? Doesn't he live? Use the microphone.
Somewhere, yeah.
Yeah. Where does he live? Scranton?
Yeah,
He's
Frankie
in the Scranton
Cross.
area, yes.
Scranton area.
Yeah. So
We're not sure if he's there.
So part of the reason that we have them here is, number one, we've always been big supporters of each other's ventures. If you go back and you watch a lot of the Corners of Sanctuary videos or any of their releases, you'll see that we were sponsors for their ventures, and a lot of times they will be seen rocking some Vinyl Closet merch. You know, the three of us grew up together back, 85, Norristown, West Lafayette Street. Mick's family, who are my cousins, had the house that we all congregated at. And there was a little garage out back, and that's where I really honed my groupie skills, I feel like. That's where I kind of, at the tender age of 14, got completely ingrained in all things metal. And I can trace a lot of what I like literally directly back to you in particular. Okay. Yeah, okay. A lot back to you in particular.
Talking about music.
Yeah, we're talking about music.
Culture.
No, music.
Oh,
and I was thinking about this yesterday after we set this up. And I don't know if you'll remember this or not, but do you remember blow drying my hair out straight?
Yes.
Right? You do remember? And I looked like you made it look like the guy from Dawkins. Yep. I can't remember.
Wild Nick Brown.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, this is big, but my shit was like legendary. It was nice. So you guys have been at it under multiple names, right? For years.
Yeah, well,
so it was Seeker.
Me and Mick have played together, yeah.
Yeah. Since you were, what, freshman?
Yeah, well,
sophomore-ish. I don't know.
Yeah, right about 8th grade we started.
Yeah,
okay.
You know. It depends.
Yeah.
It got probably, freshman year was probably when it started getting serious.
Yeah. But it's always been metal, and it's always been what now we would consider classic metal, right?
Yeah.
Not... You never really veered off. You never did any of the hairband stuff.
No, not really.
And you never did thrash. You never did speed metal. You never did death metal. It was always progressive. But a lot of it is akin to your Maiden, your Priest.
Yeah, the new wave of British heavy metal.
Yeah,
definitely where. I mean, in that early American metal too. You know, Kiss and Queensryche, Sabotage, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
really. You know.
I remember being in the basement, too, when John would be down there, and that was the first time I heard Beth.
Oh.
And I'm not kidding when I say I can literally trace so many of my core metal memories back to that house on Lafayette Street and just us all hanging out together. So I always have a special place in my heart, you know, besides the fact that we're family. Sure. I have a special place in my heart for most of you.
Thank you. Most.
Just kidding.
Most.
James and I have a love-hate shtick. We've had it our whole lives.
I don't like with
you just love me. It's unrequited, really.
My older sister. It's whatever you want. It doesn't matter. You want to be angry, be angry.
I'm not angry. You're a pain in my pants, though. I said to Mick, how did he get my phone number? He has texted me every day now.
Maybe a couple days in a row.
So T, tell me about, well, here's the question. I asked if there was anything off limits. Do we discuss the family relationship, or can we?
We're family. That's as far as we take it.
That's as far as we take it? Okay. You are two separate individuals,
We are
though.
two separate individuals with different parents.
That's actually true. That's true.
actually true.
That's actually true.
That is true.
So
So we're family.
your family, okay. So how was it for you becoming a drummer and kind of growing up under the influence of your family member Mick?
I could answer that.
Nope. That's why I said other people are getting a chance to talk, buddy.
I need to think about that one. That's a good question.
All the interviews you guys have given, nobody's ever asked you about that?
no one really asks like the deep questions or like
Oh.
those kind of questions.
We always get like, what's the craziest thing that ever happened on tour? I don't know.
We drove for 14 hours. That's it.
Well, all right. Did you feel? Let's say this. Did you feel like you were given the opportunity to like whatever kind of music you wanted to like, or do you feel like you were just so immersed around metal that's just became?
No, I listened to whatever was on the radio when I was like 6 or whatever. It was just whatever was on the CD player or whatever. So it wasn't until I think maybe middle school or something like that. Someone said, "Hey, I'm going to show you Maiden," and showed me Maiden. And I'm like, "Well, this is awesome." so literally my playlist every single time that I got on the computer, this was like major YouTube days.
Oh yeah.
So it was just like, let me just go through Number of the Beast, Wasted Years, X, Y, and Z, and then I don't know.
That's Rush.
And then, and then somehow I got on the Judas Priest kick, and then I'm like, oh yeah. By freshman year in high school, it was just like I want to play drums, but I kind of wanted to look more like what they were than actually sound like them because I couldn't play right. So
Yeah, right. I mean, I wasn't the only one with big hair. I want to say he had huge hair. You had big hair up here, and then your mullet.
My mullet.
Your mullet. That was really special.
Catholic school.
Catholic school. Go ahead.
But I don't know, the drum set was out because my sister wanted to do drums, but she wasn't committed to it. So I'm like, let me just play along, and
Yeah.
that's where I went with it. And
Did you take to it right away?
yeah. I mean, I remember playing, and this is going back a bit, but like I remember in middle school there was like, oh hey, we're going to do guitar class for whatever. I'm like, I can't do this. So I'm like, this is way too hard for me or whatever. So drums was like, oh yeah, I can get my whole body into it. I don't have to read anything. Oh wait, I do have to read something, but that's something else. So yeah, it just kind of went from there, and yeah, that 80s metal really had like that foundation thing of like, yeah, this is what like drums are supposed to sound like.
Yeah. You are an exceptional drummer for your age, and I've been hearing you be a drummer since you started. You had a band before you joined Corners of Sanctuary that opened for Corners of Sanctuary back at our old shop. What was the name of that band?
That one was called Powerless Rise.
That's right. And you were young.
Yes.
I mean, I don't even know.
I don't know how old I was.
It had to have been 8 or 9 years ago. How long have you been in Corners?
Since 2016.
7 years as a full-time drummer.
Okay.
But he's been with us since the very beginning.
No, yeah.
He was roadie.
He was a roadie.
He actually helped write a lot of the early songs, working with me, and
That's cool.
And actually, he filled in for a lot of shows in the early days before he was. He was. Several times we were caught without a drummer, and I looked over at him. He says, I can get through some of it. And I said, all right.
Fake it till you make it, brother. Fake it till you make it.
Not knowing that he knew most of the set, but that it definitely came in handy.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, who does most of the songwriting?
I do.
That does, yeah.
Lyrics and music?
Lyrics and music.
And then you take it to them?
I take it to them, and then they put their stamp on it. Lyric-wise, I mean, T does write some lyrics, and in the last couple, over the last, 4 years, 5 years, actually, right after T joined, I started pushing everybody to give a little bit more with the lyrics
Sure.
and stuff like that. Because it really does, it helps me,
Sure it does.
and it helps the overall sound. But by the end, we all put our stamp on it.
That's awesome.
you know.
Where do you draw your inspiration from for your lyrics?
not to sound like an old man, but actually everything now kind of inspires me. Like I can take reference like.
For the record, you are an old man.
I am an old
Okay.
man.
We all are,
except
for him.
I don't want to sound like one.
We might have the ARP card, but we're not.
That's right.
We're not using it yet.
Right.
We're not using it.
I do use it, and you do get 10% off at Outback. So,
sponsor them,
That's
Outback.
Nothing like 10% off.
like, again, inspiration comes anywhere, and I mean, we can watch a movie, and then I get inspired. I get some words based on the movie, like Fistful of Vengeance is based on 13 Samurai. No,
13 Assassins.
13 Assassins.
Okay.
It was a Japanese movie, and I was like, wow, man. I started getting, wow, I'm watching a movie. I'm starting to like write down this stuff, and it was,
When you write a song, and I've asked other songwriters this just in conversations, do you see a movie in your head?
Yes.
Yeah.
When
because I do that when I write, I'm picturing the things happening.
When we're recording, and we've talked about this in private as a band, because sometimes when I present a mix and I go, I'm giving them a visual too, and I know most people won't have a visual.
Yeah.
But I see it that way. So then I have these highs and lows in the songs, and maybe some subtlety here or something more dynamic there. And I know I know that for most people it's not there for them.
Sure.
And I understand that. But the times when we do get a review and somebody says something that was like what we were trying to achieve, I'm like, oh my God, there's somebody that's getting it.
That's
so,
it.
But we'll continue to keep doing that regardless if people get it or not.
I think that's awesome. I think the people that you're writing the songs for, besides yourself, if they get that, then your work is done. They're the audience that you're trying to reach.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
But people, whatever someone gets out of it, whether it's the music itself or the lyrics.
And their interpretation could be something completely different than what you had intended. I think that's kind of cool too.
Well, we get that a lot, even in comparison. Like over the years, we've been compared to Man of War, to Judas Priest, to
we actually got a
Overkill,
ZZ Top as well.
ZZ Top, to even AC/DC, and it's like
What?
we may not.
It's the bass.
Or some weird stuff like people of Anthrax, because Whitesnake. I remember we were in an interview and goes, "You guys remind me so much of Whitesnake," and it's like, well, that's cool, and we'll
Sure.
take it.
And I assume they mean pre.
Well, I think, listen, John Sykes was definitely an inspiration as a guitar player for
Okay.
me. So there is some of, like, if you hear, like, Wild Card, that is John Sykes and Cozy Powell right there, right?
Yeah.
And that's that whole thing. But, like, for Anthrax or even ZZ Top, though they're fantastic players, they're not really bands that straight to the point had, say, inspired us.
Sure.
But
And
we're
you're not
gonna deny
modeling.
that.
No,
We
of
won't
course
deny-
not, because
like,
they're
that's a
amazing.
fantastic company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So even if they said, listen, your music sounds like the theme song to Sanford and Son, I'd be like, okay. Hit TV show. I mean,
Well,
at least
Jake would love that,
it's
'cause
more or
that's
less
one of
how
his favorite
people
shows.
Interpret like sounds and things that they remember, and,
Yeah.
and they put it to what they know best.
What would people who follow you now? You guys have a huge European following, a huge overseas following. You've done tours over there. You're heading back to
To the UK.
the
this
UK,
April, yeah.
which unfortunately you were trying to go to, and then COVID happened.
Well, we were there.
We were there.
When
Oh, you were there and you had
we
to
were
cut it
there when
short.
the US
That's right.
Shut down, so we had to cancel the remaining part of the
Yeah.
tour and struggle to get home.
Awesome.
The cavity search 2 hours in the Philly airport.
See, I didn't have that. I didn't have the.
No?
cabin. She
Wonder
went on
why.
He went in the different line.
Okay.
Apparently, I got a cavity search because they found a bar of soap. I'm like, the guy goes, what is this? And I
yeah,
go,
it's awful.
it's soap.
No, when we landed in Philly.
I was gonna say, do you think it was your Philly
Can I
whole Norristown
Let
thing?
me just say, no, it was Philly. That this
It was
bar
Philly,
of
yeah.
soap
Oh, it
thing.
happened in Philly.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
also they have long hair.
Yeah.
And I swear to God, it was like,
Prejudicial.
He's getting yelled at because he put his ID in his mouth and it was COVID and like.
But
like
it's
the
your
thi-
ID.
Like the TSA
Yeah.
woman all of a sudden is a medical expert.
Yeah.
You know you're about to go back. Let's not get you banned. Okay?
No, we don't get paid for that.
Well, no
Point-
one knew everybody
No,
was
everybody was running blind.
Was that the time you guys got? That was after coming back from Germany where you had the food and then they went crazy and they like I'm like, where are they going? They had a sandwich that we actually got. No, it was the UK.
It was UK, yeah. It was a sandwich that we got in Philly because our flight was
Right.
delayed.
We grabbed like 20 sandwiches.
Sure.
Like
You didn't know how long you were going to be
we didn't know,
stuck
right?
there.
Exactly. So we're a traveling band, so you got to take what you can.
Yeah.
And so we were actually, because we were only over there for 4 days, only did a couple shows.
Three
So
shows.
We came back and we still had
Crazy.
food. And you thought that I was bringing
Contraband.
No, well, no. Then what was wrapped was like I was bringing COVID over in 4 hoagie sizes.
He's like,
And I mean,
You
we
have
literally waited
food?
till
Yeah,
I
I'm like,
you can
they got
get your
pulled
COVID
away.
in a shorty
Yeah,
or classic.
right.
like, but it said Philadelphia Airport
Yeah.
on the. Yeah, I don't know. It's
Well,
they're-
clearly
it's
you
whatever.
looked like masterminds.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
But we've had conversations about this topic.
the vibe in Europe as opposed to here.
Yeah, and the appreciation of original music overseas versus locally in your own backyard.
Yeah, I think this goes back a long way. It's not just nowadays or
No.
right. So you look at somebody like Jimi Hendrix. He goes over to the UK. He actually makes it there, right? Because rhythm and blues, jazz, all of that was more accepted in the UK for whatever reason. Whether it was here, mom and dad were afraid, to have their kids listen to black people music or black culture music. He makes it there and then comes here, right? So, and there's a guy considered to be a great innovator. So, right, and then you look at bands like Judas Priest, Black Sabbath, all of that, they came over. They actually sparked metal back.
Sure they did.
In the U.S., right? So, I think it's always kind of been that way in Europe and the U.K. I know the U.K. is in Europe, but it's a little bit different.
But there are like hardcore metalheads over there. I mean,
Germany's hardcore
metal
now.
festivals out
Yeah.
the ass over there. Right?
Germany was like
Well,
that.
I have
for
to say,
sure.
what we noticed the times that we were over there is that they have a diverse feel for music.
Sure.
Right? All kinds of music. Like you could have a hardcore metalhead there, and he likes pop and country,
Mm-hmm.
and there's no judgment.
Right.
There's no split.
Right.
Like they almost don't look at as the subgenre like we do.
Okay.
Like, and it's nothing's
That's a
passe.
good point, yeah.
Nothing's ever passe. Like here, it's passe.
Yeah.
Like you guys play old guy music, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right.
But there, it's metal's metal.
Yeah.
And actually, it's like that. From what I understand, it's like that everywhere except in the U.S. parts of Canada.
It's funny. Music, modern music, pop, whatever you want to call it. It's like it starts here,
Yeah.
and then it gets washed out into bubblegum, right? But then it goes to Europe, and then it's widely accepted there, right? And then when it becomes unacceptable here, it kind of comes back over. It's weird, but
Well, how do you find the motivation to keep going in your own country and in your own area, the East Coast, with, when you're playing? Now, I've seen you at Reverb, and you get nice crowds there, and you get on bills, and I think that people that have not heard of you or seen you before, they are fans by the time you're done. I've literally seen it happen.
yeah, it's a transformation.
It is a transformation, but is it disheartening? And I'm saying this as somebody who, when I have these after dark events here, 90% of the time they are cover and or tribute bands.
Right.
Okay, this place will be packed.
Sure.
When I have original bands here, it's
not as
it's
packed.
hit or miss. Yeah.
It's hit or miss.
Yeah, I might get 25 to 30 people. The musicians are like, well, that's great. You had 30 people. They're excited. But I'm like, to me, it's a little disheartening, and nothing against my cover band friends, because that's who, that helps considerably. But is that disheartening for you guys as original musicians to see, well, if you play here and this is where you grew up, you're going to get 35 people. But if, another band, Bob and the Pussycats, plays here and they're doing all, Jimmy Buffett covers, you're not going to be able to move in here.
I don't know if disheartened is the word for it. I think we get it. We understand it, right? Like, I mean, people want to, I think the vibe is people want to be reminded of when they were, whenever it was, right? Whether it was 10 years ago younger, or in some cases 30 years ago younger, or 40 years ago. Yeah, right. I mean, that's, what they're into. Like if I'm at a restaurant or a bar, or
Mm-hmm.
Right? I
Your
enjoy-
mood does automatically increase when you know the song, right?
Well, yeah, but
Unless it's like
but-
Sweet Caroline or something.
but
Then you just want to start.
and I
throwing
enjoy
haymakers.
acoustic acts or cover bands or whatever.
Sure.
I do. I really do. And listen, that's probably how they're making money. Right?
Absolutely.
So you can't. I mean, believe me, it's you got to make the ends meet. But I do really enjoy a nice, and I like kind of. We see so much original music, we kind of burned out on it. You know what I mean? It's like oh no, not
Another one,
yeah. Right? It's like, but when someone's different, a little bit different,
Yeah.
Or I was in San Francisco, went to a jazz club, like a blues club, or just something that's not my everyday listening stuff. I'm into it.
Well, I was actually going to ask that. What would people be surprised? I'm going to start with you. So somebody give him the mic. What would people be surprised that you love to listen to that's not metal? Or who's your go-to artist that's not in the genre in which you play?
We'll say not in hard rock or metal.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of hard because that's kind of all I listen to.
Is it?
I don't. Yeah, I don't. I mean, I have Michael Jackson's Bad album.
Yeah.
But I haven't listened to that in years. But I mean, like if he's on the radio, then I'll listen to that. If it's Thriller, I mean, you can't turn down Thriller.
Right.
So like, I mean, I'll listen to anything once. But I mean, I don't have like a go-to thing that's like, oh, hey, this is what I'm going to do when I'm not in the mood for metal.
Okay.
If I'm not in the mood for metal, I'll choose something that's lighter metal. But I mean,
like if you don't feel like listening to Kiss Alive 3, maybe you'll put on like the Unplugged.
yeah,
No,
yeah, basically.
Kiss Alive 2.
Kiss Alive 1.
Kiss
Yeah,
Alive.
that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. What
Yeah.
about you, Mick? I can't do
So
it.
this is a mic. That's a mic.
It's okay. Just the other night, I was Nick Michaels, the guitar player. And I answer to whatever.
You
It
will,
doesn't matter.
yeah.
Nick is all right.
Yeah, Nick's okay.
Yeah. You should change your name to Nick.
Maybe. Well, it would go to Nico then. I'd go Nico. Nico Michaels.
You look like a Nico.
Yeah, I'm a Nico with this hat on.
Oh yeah.
It's cold in here.
I honestly, like, I've been asked this before. I like a lot of different things. Like,
Yeah.
I have an infinity for pop music.
Yes, you
So
do.
Which
is where this question comes.
I love pop music. Always did. And I don't really I was never affected, especially growing up, about like, oh, you shouldn't listen to this, you shouldn't listen to that. To me, it was just all I liked
Right.
it. I mean, I grew up on the Jackson 5, the Osmonds.
We watched Dirty Dancing, I want to say 200 times.
Yeah, I had the Patrick Swayze 45.
Yep.
I
And
sang
you would
along
do the
with it.
dance too.
Yeah.
You did the dance in the living room.
So,
I was not. Do you like it?
I mean,
Should
listen,
I listen to it? I can't stand that.
because I think the music, it wasn't about a particular kind of music, though I gravitated towards metal because of the empowerment that it gave.
Yeah.
But I mean, I love Barry Gibb, Neil Diamond,
Yeah.
that type of stuff.
You do like the pop stuff.
I do like the pop stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, because
Michael Jackson was a big-
to me, it's about
for Michael.
songwriting, right? Being a songwriter, an
Here he
arranger.
called you Mick.
Pretty big for Nick.
Yeah.
Let's start calling him Nike.
For Nico.
Instead of Mike,
It's really
it's
big
Nike.
for Nico.
Yeah, Nico's usually a tall, big,
Greek guy.
with like no neck, all shoulder, and that's not
That,
me.
that,
That's
that was
definitely
you.
not me.
That was you.
So
That was you 30 years ago.
yeah, maybe.
Except for you weren't tall.
What what about you?
I do. I mean, I have a lot of different music that I listen to. I really do. If you look at my playlist, it could be Carly Simon. It could be Megadeth. It could be Barry Manilow.
Any of the current stuff that's out? How do you feel about the newer metal stuff?
I mean, to me, what I probably consider newer isn't probably newer. Listen, we play with a lot of bands. I like vocals.
Yeah.
I like singing.
Yeah, me too.
That's just me. Now, having said that, I'm an AC/DC fan, big time, right? I dig Metallica. People wouldn't say they're,
James Hetfield can sing.
I like.
Do you want to be involved in this? Because you're over there chomping at the bit, like you've got questions you want to ask.
Well, I know, because he
I know.
knows it all.
The
But
music guy is sitting over there,
Like,
like
I
gave him the option to co-host.
If you listen to my playlist, it's all over the place. I mean, I've always played metal.
Yeah.
Because maybe that's, to Mick's point, it's just kind of like the empowerment or the feeling you get from it. But yeah, it could be anything. I just scored I've told you guys that I scored like this vinyl from this. It goes from like 68 to Thriller, right? And I was like, I don't know. And then all of a sudden, it's Jeff.
What,
Beck
a collection you bought?
And yeah, I got
Okay.
it at a yard sale.
Oh,
And-
okay.
and, without getting too much into it,
Yeah.
the guy was from Britain, and he put everything on reel to reel because he was in the Army.
That's awesome.
The covers aren't great, but whatever. We can talk about that later. But now all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, Buddy Guy, cool. Jeff Beck, cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
And all three of you are vinyl guys. You all have nice vinyl collections.
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, my
I mean,
vinyl collection's gotten to be more, since being a player, my vinyl collection has gotten to be more of like I get it, so I can sign it and then I frame it.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
It's a collector's.
I play.
But I have a set of vinyl little player that I'll listen to.
Yeah.
It brings back memories. or
Yeah.
whatever.
yeah, I'm probably more the
Yeah, he's the
vinyl guy.
audiophile.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I
I
just
wouldn't go that
remember
far,
when
but
we
yeah.
our grand opening in our 9x5 legit closet.
Yeah, we bought a
Yeah,
bunch
yeah.
off
Your
guys.
family came in, and
I don't think I was there. I wasn't invited. I don't think.
probably not. No, I didn't want to include you today.
Could be.
Just
I
kidding.
thought I could. I didn't even know. It was just like, all right, yeah, okay, okay.
I'm kidding.
I thought I was.
You are. You're.
Why do you hurt me inside?
I told you. Sure. Question from the gallery.
Because I couldn't play guitar. No, honestly. So we started.
The question was, what made James become
a bass
a
player.
bass player, as opposed
I
to
think people. I mean, maybe there's someone that's like, I just got to be a bass player. But I think for me, it was where I fit in the band at the time. We were like in 8th grade,
yeah.
and I was guitar. And
I
I'm like,
started with drums. I played drums for about 5-6 years. It was more of a, when I was a kid in the '70s, they called me, I was hyperactive. So someone had told my parents, hey, let them maybe play an instrument, maybe some drums, or get rid of some of that pentamen. So I got a really cool Ludwig Sparkle jazz
Yeah,
kit,
I'm mad you
and
got rid of
I
that.
enjoyed playing it. I did really
It's a
well.
great kid.
It drove my
Shouts
mother
out my
nuts, so it didn't really help the situation. However, for me, and I've told this story
He
before.
could do a mean left-handed roll.
Yeah.
No, wait.
Let him talk.
I could try to write songs, and I would do that,
Did she hit you?
but they would never. They
up.
just weren't coming out like I thought that they would.
Yeah.
Because I would go, "Hey, Mom, check this out." I'm little,
Yeah.
8, 9,
Yeah.
and I'm not getting it. I don't get it. But I'd have this whole thing in my head.
Yeah.
So,
Well, you're very artistic besides being a musician. I mean, you are an artist, like legit can draw.
yeah, it saves the band money. That's
You're
about it.
incredibly creative.
It certainly does.
I mean, a majority of if not all, of the videos, the graph, everything that you do is that the band puts out is your work. Is that
our
correct?
marketing department.
It's the marketing.
Marketing art department.
Right.
yeah.
But I mean, you've always been unbelievably talented in
Thank you.
the arts. How did you switch to guitar? I don't even think I know this.
Well, my older brother played guitar.
I
and,
was going to say, was it
and,
because of John?
As any young kid who has an older brother that you looked at as a hero, you're like, I want to be more like my older brother. And,
Yeah.
And that was really part of that transition.
I think he had influence on all of us.
He did.
John?
He had
Oh, yeah.
influence on all of us for sure.
I told you. He
I
taught me.
think
He showed me Beth.
7 months after making the switch, though, I realized that this was the vehicle to be able to write songs.
Yeah.
And I went that route and didn't practice as much as I should have. But I look at myself as a songwriter who plays guitar.
Hey, some of those riffs from 8th grade we're playing now.
Yeah.
Still?
Yeah.
Actually, some of the songs were original
I mean, they're
songs.
baked in. It's baked in there. Like,
Oh,
Yeah.
of course. Of course.
Metal Machine is a DEF CON. James and I's
Yeah.
first
Okay.
band.
yeah.
It's a
and
Okay.
DEF CON
And the
song.
bridge,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah.
Part
That's
of,
awesome.
Part of A Fistful of Vengeance was from Archangel. So Yeah.
How many
I don't
bands
remember
have the two of you
Been in together?
been in together?
So it's just been one big long.
I know it's been.
one-
I know
one
you
big
just
band. One
you
big
swap out additional drummers or additional guitar players. It's
Yeah.
always been the core and singers. But how many different names?
You got to ask
Well, we
Nico.
yeah. Nico. Well,
This is
I'll
how
tell you
things
what, like,
change. Just
there-
start.
Before I answer that, there's a lot of players that James and I know that, like, every 2 weeks they're in a new band.
Sure.
Right.
And
Yeah, we're
any band
35
that we've
years
been
into
in,
this.
we've done for, like, our first two bands. We did a band called Def Con, and then Archangel, and then that kind of morphed into Seeker.
Right.
Right.
And Seeker we did for 6 years.
Yeah.
And we had
That's it.
That was it. We had a development deal.
It
and
seemed longer because our life. Because
It seemed longer because we were
It
young.
was literally
and
half our lives.
yeah.
Now
yeah.
it's like 10%.
Right.
Maybe.
Right. That's
Ancient
true.
history.
That's
Hopefully
true.
not 10%.
I remember my dad did one of your
Yeah.
videos.
Oh my God.
Actually, one of our first.
He was.
Our-
I don't know
well,
how.
he-
We were pushing 120 decibels at 20.
He
feet.
loved it.
Not even
He
20
loved
feet.
it.
He was
6 feet.
He was sweating. The cross frequencies. I don't know what we were doing.
He loved it, and I'm sure it didn't hurt that like me and your sister
Oh,
and all our little friends were
So
in there.
loud.
You know,
Johnny had a double stack. Mick had a double stack.
Yeah.
I had 4 15s and 4 10s.
it
like,
was it Frank then?
and a room that
Frank.
was
Frank
24
was singing and
by
Sean
20.
was drummer, right?
Sean.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, it was Sean. Yeah.
Double bass kit. I mean, it was just.
Huge cans hanging from the.
But I mean, there
ceiling.
was a riser in your garage. Like
Yeah.
it was a
We
legit.
made
Like
it a whole stage.
you
And
made
we had
it a
the-
whole stage.
We had the road chairs.
Yep.
and
Yeah, I mean, we put our own
lot
little
of-
club together.
That's
lot-
what I.
And
That's
every-
what
lot
I
of
mean.
fun
when-
and
Friday and
strange
Saturday.
things.
It was.
So, you know, we more
Unrequited, I'm
Seeker
telling you.
morphed into corporate mass, and then
That's it. I was. I
yeah,
yeah.
and we did that throughout the '90s and into the early 2000s. We
Yeah.
we were into we progressed into
That was
progressive
progressive.
metal,
Yeah.
you know, and then we took some time off, and then here we are.
That's awesome. Now, last year you did a cover,
Yeah, we did a few covers last year.
but the big one was the Def Leppard cover
Def
for
Leppard,
Bringing
yeah.
on the Heartache, right?
Yeah, that was
Heartbreak.
Yeah.
What was the backstory to that?
An opportunity to be on a
compilation.
Compilation.
Tribute. See, like we were
Yeah,
asked.
let's do it.
We were asked the summer before, and we were debating, and most of that it was me saying no.
Okay.
because I didn't get into this.
Yeah.
with other people's
No,
music.
Right.
Me too.
Yeah, he
right?
wasn't
Like, we
completely
don't do
for it.
that.
And then I don't know.
You
listen,
warmed to the idea.
And
We
then
were
said,
taught if you're not going to do it exactly the way it is, then don't do it.
"Don't
Yeah.
do it."
Well, we changed our mind about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, COVID, the time down changed our mind about a bunch
Oh,
of different
of course
stuff,
it did.
So we did Mirror Mirror,
Mhm.
and we sat on it for 6 months,
Oh yeah.
and we didn't bother doing the tribute thing. The label contacts us and go, listen, we really want you guys on. Can you do Rock of Ages? And I was like, I don't know. I'll talk to the guys.
Right.
And I like Def Leppard, but I would never study their guitar and their playing. It wasn't
I'll
definitely.
be honest with you, I was intimidated by it, because I don't know why. I was like, and part of not doing covers for me was like, I don't.
You don't want to be compared.
Well, you don't
Note
want-
your
Uh,
note
but
for
you-
note.
listen,
It's
like James was saying. Like we were told, if you can't do it like the song or
Exactly.
better,
Yeah.
you don't do it. You don't
Yeah.
touch it. And there's no sense of, because the way I look at it is like,
But
if I have a choice between a cover song, listening to a cover song, or the actual song, I'm gonna go to the actual song.
Yeah.
Same with
Normally,
my idea
yeah.
about the tribute band thing,
Sure.
too. I get it. I understand it.
Unless you never heard the original song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we
Like-
wound up
like
doing
get
it.
that.
We wound
I
up
get
doing
that.
it, and in the
In Metallica.
studio, Frankie goes, "Listen, we've already did 2. Why don't we do 1 more?" And I said, "Well, what are you thinking?"
This
And
is
we're
how
back
things
and
start.
forth, and I said, "Well, why don't we do this?" And he goes, "Okay." I said, "But here's the thing: if we're going to do it, we're going to do it completely different. Like I don't want to do it like they do it because it's such a when they redid their own song." That song became even more dynamite.
Right,
Right. It
right.
had Mutt Lange stamp on it. I'm like, what are we going to? So we went a completely different way. We went a piano arrangement.
Yeah, it was good. It's
and
good.
we changed.
It's very good.
I mean, with all the songs, we changed some of the arrangement a little bit to make it more our own. And lo and behold, over the summer, that song wound up being released, and I mean, the streams on it went out the roof
Yeah.
for us.
Like what?
I mean, it was like,
Okay,
what?
cool.
Like,
where you're like, huh? Maybe we'll do a couple more now.
Yeah,
you
and
know.
we may have some more on deck.
Because that's a way, though, to get people engaged in your original music too. That maybe they wouldn't have listened to it before.
Listen, if Judas Priest did it, Metallica certainly did it.
Yeah.
They probably made a living off
Everybody,
it.
Def Leppard did it. Everybody did.
Def Leppard, Joan Jett. I mean, the list goes on and on.
Sure.
You know,
Elvis,
Elvis certainly.
There's not. I don't think there's anybody that haven't done it.
Van Halen.
Yeah.
Van
Right.
Halen essentially was. So one of the things that we learned, two things that we learned during COVID, is you can't beat them, cover them, and if you can't beat them, open for them.
That's it. That's it.
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
So, what's been one of your best memories or the most exciting thing that has happened since you've been in Corners, T? Whether it be bands that you opened for, or clubs that you played at, or countries you got to visit.
Well, the cool thing is that with this band, I got to travel overseas for the first and second and now third time, which is cool. And actually go there and actually play, do something that I've wanted to do since like high school, like everyone else here. But I think one of the ones that really takes the cake for me is that we got that opening slot for the only opening slot for Udo's band when he came through in March whatever of wherever at the Troc, which is now closed. What's cool with that is that Udo I used to listen to Accept so much during when I first found metal, and then what was even cooler is that like I got to play on the Troc stage where I went I don't know how many times to go see bands there. So I'm like, hey, and now I'm on the other side. This is actually really cool.
Yeah.
So that really
And we got free parking too.
It was definitely Cinderella because when 11 o'clock came,
Get your asses out of here. Udo's got to bring his truck in. Fuck, man. We had to curse.
No, but that's
No,
something.
but it was
that's
it
a
was
great
cool.
moment for you.
Yeah.
For sure.
I
think
I'm
we'd all
pretty
agree
sure
with
I
that.
know what yours is because I think you and I talked about this offline before. Go ahead. What's?
well, I mean, I could say it was a lot. I
And
mean,
this band is what you're asking?
Yeah,
Okay.
for us.
it was the whiskey, right?
Oh, well, the playing the whiskey
yeah.
was. Here's the thing: we've done the
That's
whiskey twice
stupid,
now.
though.
Yeah.
The first time,
Do we have duct tape?
the
This
first
is how
time
this
the
works.
place was basically sold out, and unfortunately for me, I was so wrapped up in all the stress and
Yeah.
everything that I didn't get to enjoy it the same way that these guys did.
Sure.
But I have no.
No,
Regrets or
but
anything
that's
like that,
also your
but-
personality.
Yeah, I mean, I was like you said, I'm
He doesn't drink.
wind pretty,
He's
wind up
wound
pretty tight.
pretty tight.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But there, because it just was a lot. You know what I mean? That was a lot, but
That
it was
was cool.
exciting.
But in retrospect, when you look back on it, do you picture? And this, I might get a little misty because I think about this when I think of that moment for you. Little Mick walking out to the garage to play in your little backyard stage, thinking to yourself, because that was the height of the whiskey.
Right.
Yeah.
Thinking to yourself, one of these days, I'm going to be on the stage at the whiskey, and you fucking were.
Yeah. I mean, well, listen. I mean,
I think you think
We-
things like Madison Square Garden.
yeah. And that's this is a perfect
yeah.
example.
Yeah.
Like we have a tendency to kind of like knock ourselves down really quick.
I want
in
to play.
reality.
I want to play Live Aid.
We have a way of kind of like putting ourselves in check real quick.
Yeah.
So there's really none of that BS with us. Even
Yeah.
when as soon as we try to, we're reminded of where we came from.
Well, you're saying when you're a kid.
But what I'm saying is when
Yeah.
you think back to, if you could go back to tell your 13-year-old, 8th grade self,
Yeah, I wouldn't tell him.
one of these days you're going to play the whiskey.
Oh,
Yeah,
That's a
listen,
pretty
cool question.
exceptional.
we've been able
experience.
we've been fortunate enough to be able to play with some of the people that were heroes for us.
Absolutely.
Right? Like playing with
Right.
Udo was like
it's crazy.
we were though it wasn't Accept,
Yeah.
you wouldn't
was
know
a-
the difference.
no.
You couldn't tell that it sounded. He was crystal clear.
Let me tell you.
We
how,
are taller than Udo.
Yeah,
Really?
he's-
Yeah.
Yeah, we
So
are.
Oh.
me and Mick are sitting. I don't know where T was or Frankie, but me and Mick were sitting balls to the walls, right? So we're backstage. You know, whatever. You could watch.
Yeah.
We for some reason we stayed in the green room. And we just sat in there, and it came on. He's like, "You want to go out?" I was like, "No." And I said to him, "I go, holy shit! Like, we're literally here, listening to Balls to the Walls
from the person who. Why didn't you want to go out?
In front of that band.
Were you afraid it wasn't going to meet the fantasy in your mind?
No, I guess I just wanted to hang out with my buddy.
Aw, that's sweet. He has moments.
There was a when we went to Europe, and our first night we played in Belgium, and we
Are
had
you
just
getting misty?
yeah.
Aw. See,
Well,
I
no,
thought I
honestly,
was going to get misty.
Here's the thing. I really mean it. I was like, we don't need it. It's like I almost felt like we belong here. Why should we run out there? I'm going to hang with my boy.
But I love that because, oh my God, now you're getting me
That's
on
like
this.
part of
who,
it.
who thinks you get all misty over talking about Udo? But, like,
Yeah, that guy.
I know, but.
Yeah, well, Balls to the Walls will make you
But
miss
because
it.
in my mind, I'm picturing.
Too many shots to it.
In my mind, I'm picturing Little James and Little Mick and having that
we were
moment.
the same height.
No, but
honestly,
I'm meaning younger. I'm picturing that
I
experience.
I mean, like I said, there's time. Like, so when we went to Europe, our first night was in Belgium, but we flew into Frankfurt, Germany, and we drove. We were already, the flight was forever.
Oh, God.
We did the overnight. We had to drive
That's the
all
worst.
day. We went to the edge of Belgium, about an hour outside of France. We get to the gig. It was raining. It was ice cold. I mean, it was like
Urinals were 6 feet off the ground.
Yeah. And we were,
Like, how
we
do
were
you
getting tired, right? And so we're sitting.
Are the Germans a notoriously tall people?
we have a great
I mean,
story about that.
We got there and we're like, I need a crate. I mean, you're trying to go up. I mean, like, I can't do
And
this.
listen, we're right. So was it 2018?
And none of you are particularly
We don't have strong
statuesque.
stream anymore.
No,
The stream
But
is
none of
not
you-
strong. He was able to pee right up
Yeah.
into it. Me,
well,
just
before I
went
finish
to the
that story, we
toilet.
played in Germany. That same tour, we played in Germany. This is just to make a joke about our height. We get off stage. We did a festival. We get off stage.
was cool.
It was like hobbits and the human, and right. And the one guy goes, he's standing over us. He goes, you, and we're the
The
four of
biggest,
us are like, yeah.
scariest man ever.
And the four of us are like, yeah. He goes, you play like much larger men, and we're like, thank you.
Thank you. But you know what? You know what's funny? Like,
That's the greatest.
you talk about.
You should get that on a T-shirt.
No, so we have
play
we
like
have
much larger
a
men.
photo.
Like
We have a
much
photo
larger
with
men.
the guy. And again, if you remember the scene
He's huge.
when Merry and Pippin are being held by the
Gondorf.
the orcs,
Oh,
the humans come in and they're kind of like moving around like this. That's us. We had our hoods on and these much larger men. You know what I mean? But we play like they
But you know
stand.
what's
my
great
God.
about that?
You
it's
play like much larger men.
It's when you. I didn't know whether you were going to ask me that same question, like the moment. Yeah,
Yeah.
certainly the whiskey was right after you played at the whiskey when I was alone, up in the green room. I was like, holy shit! Imagine the different people that were in here, and I got to play whatever the doors, all the shit.
Yeah.
And like, I just stayed by myself for a while.
Yeah.
Right? All that's true, but the most impactful stuff is like that, because these guys in a different country came to sit with us, and a lot of people in Europe, in Germany, did this, and in the UK, they come over. They just want to meet you and talk to you.
Sure.
And they recognize what you're doing, and that feels better than, I think, Udo.
That's cool.
It's the individual moments, not necessarily the size of the crowds.
Have you had moments in other countries where the fans, the people that are there, know
They
your
don't have
lyrics
many
and they're
fans.
singing back to you? Have you seen that yet?
Maybe
On
on
the
the
Hunt.
hunt. Yeah.
Okay.
On the Hunt is, I mean, it's easy.
Yeah, I mean
know what
it's
I mean?
it's repetitious. It's got that.
They don't have a
That
lot of
core-
fans in the UK. They don't. Oh, you're talking about the.
They didn't
I
have
just
any-
mean-
they didn't have many
I was talking
fans.
about
They
the-
had no
the fans.
in Germany either.
You
We
just
stayed in
sweat
a
your
hotel,
ass.
and we were like, "Can we get a fan?" Because we went in August.
Just one.
And the guy's looking at us like, "Fan? What do you mean fan? I don't understand." Like, and I'm going like this, fan
that spins.
like this. So
Takes
they had
the
to go.
fucking
They had to go to
funk out of this
somebody's
room.
house, and they bring this old like 1935,
No, nothing to
no
protect it.
grill, all metal blade,
Just,
and all
just it looked like one of those daisy windmills that you put in your backyard.
Yeah.
yeah. We thought maybe we could power the amps with it.
And we're all crammed in.
Yeah, we're all crammed
First of
in.
all, we're in a bad.
So
a bad
outside was
neighborhood.
freezing, but in the room was stifling.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't cold.
Well, no,
in here.
that was we
Oh,
when
you're
we were
talking
in
about
Europe. It was
Oh,
in
okay.
August when we did the UK. The last time it was March.
It was like
but
45 to 65, or it wasn't too cold in the UK.
it wasn't bad. But when we got into that Belgium gig, right, and like it was already late, and just murder, and we're up on stage and we're playing, and I'm saying to myself, I'm playing, and I'm going, man, this is just like playing at home.
Yeah.
Like it just like you know what I mean. A song later, all of a sudden it hit me. I go, this is like playing at home, but in Belgium. And all of a sudden, I was
Well,
like,
the
it kicked in because we had just been traveling literally for about
But the
22
crowd picked up.
hours.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, to your point, it's like, people are like, who are,
And we
right?
wound up, not to whatever, but this was a shock to us because you don't do that here in the U.S. We did 4 encores in Belgium.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
And that night, I don't know if it was before or after the gig, to be honest with you. Here's the difference. Okay? We stayed in it was a really nice house. They had pear trees and all this shit, whatever.
But no fans.
No.
Yeah, no fans. No fans.
I know they didn't have baby wipes. I know that. Anyway, so
We carry our own now.
But the woman that was meeting us, right? She's like, kind of where you at, whatever, right? Right.
That's
And
our hater.
that's all right. She meets us and actually runs in front of the van to show us where to go, and she does this like for like a quarter of a mile, right? In the United States. No, I mean I love it.
Yeah, I
right?
know.
And we're like, when the fuck you getting here, man?
Go down there.
Don't wake up my people. Don't steal any pears.
Yeah.
Because they had all these pear trees.
Bring your own baby wipes.
Yeah, and there's nothing here to eat or drink. You have to pay for the toilet paper. But in Germany, when we played the festival, the promoter, we were in a villa. It was like, I was like, oh my God, this is great. We're like food and all this. And it's like, they just treat you different. I don't know why. It's
So
just the way it is.
when you go to the UK, how long are you there?
We're there
10
10
days.
days.
And how many shows?
So, is it 8
It's
now?
gonna be 8.
It's 8 now.
And is it part of a festival? Is it 8 different clubs? Like, how did you book it out?
No, we're not doing any. We looked into festivals, but we decided that we're gonna do because we didn't finish last time.
Okay.
So this is metal. Finish what we started. Tour,
Yeah.
Right?
I
And
saw
so-
that when I saw the
so
post. I
we're
was like,
hitting-
that's
Unfortunately,
good.
some of the venues that we were at, they're no longer there. So
Oh.
we,
Yeah,
you know
they're
what I mean.
closed.
But we're hitting a number of them, plus a lot of new ones. So we're doing a pretty good section of
That's awesome.
of the English side.
That's awesome.
So,
And when do you leave for that?
April 19th.
Okay. So when you play here on March 18th, they are participating in our Closet After Dark series. It's a fundraiser for the Laurel House. They will be the charity partner for the month of March, which does a lot of work to support survivors of domestic abuse and help women get their lives and get their families relocated and empowered and restarted after they've experienced violence. So first, I want to thank you for donating your time to do that. They're going to be, their guest that night is a band called Bad Karma. And Jen Matthews is a female drummer, and I'm excited that she's playing because she played in our She Festival the last 2 years. She was the drummer for Yumi and Rini. And because we have the Vinyl Closet House Band this year, I told Jen I want to feature her as a female musician throughout, in another way. So we're excited for that. Do we get to hear, you think you're going to be doing any of the covers that you worked on, or is it going to be all
Probably
originals? You working on? No, I'm curious.
I don't know. Maybe.
Why not come and
Sure.
see?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Come
that's
and
our last stateside show. Your
Okay.
show is going to be our last, because then we're going to go into heavy rehearsal
Yeah.
for the tour.
Okay.
So we're kind of excited. We're going to be doing a couple new songs that are going to be off the new
Yeah,
extended EP that
for
comes
sure.
out February 17th.
So you'll have it for sale
we'll
here.
have it for sale here.
And we carry, every year they do a Christmas album, which is one of the things Jason loves most. And you've got tons of merch.
Yeah.
Is it Christmas that you love most, or just our?
No, he looks forward to your Christmas releases. He really does. He really does. Me, I'm like, it's not Tony Bennett, but it'll do.
I say the same thing.
Yeah. I'm like, it's not Mariah
Right,
Carey, but
right.
it's all right.
it's all right.
Just kidding.
If I could sell as many copies as she does.
Yeah, right?
I'd do it too, yeah.
How about
Oh,
it?
we would do
How
that.
about it? So So you leave, you're gone for 10 days, then you come back, and what's the plan when you come back? What's next for COS after that?
Loudness.
That week that we come back, we're opening for Loudness
That's
in Jersey. We're pretty
amazing.
We're so excited. Because that tour was canceled 3 times because of passport issues, COVID, the shutdown of Japan.
Yeah.
You're talking about ours or their problem?
Their issue.
But so we're kind of excited about that. And after that, we haven't announced this yet, but we'll announce it here for the first time. We're going to be opening for Spread Eagle in Scranton on May 20th. So
I'm going to pretend I know who that is.
That's a rare one.
All right, well, Mr. Music.
Listen, let me tell you, I pretend I know things that I don't know all the time.
I looked at Jason like, do I know who that is? Do I know any of their songs? That's awesome.
Yeah, Spread Eagle, they were big in the late 80s, early 90s, and then when the music climate changed here, they went over Europe and continue their success here. So they've been able to, like a lot of the veteran bands, they've been able to parlay a whole new career. And
parlay. See, that is why Mick should do more talking. He uses big words.
Like parlay?
Like parlay.
I learned that from...
he learned that from his bookie.
not my bookie. I learned that from Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Not the Caribbean. The Caribbean. So...
Depends. If you're going there, you're going to the
Caribbean.
When
But if you're there, you're in the Caribbean.
Swimming in it,
Queen.
When you're swimming in it, you're swimming in the Caribbean. Think about it.
I get it. So where can people find you on social media? What's all your... you got a bunch.
Go to cornersofsanctuary.com. From there, you can link to every place else. But we're on Facebook at Corners of Sanctuary.
Just Google us.
Do you have a TikTok yet?
We actually have one, but I don't use it. It's too advanced, too modern for me.
Yeah, I haven't twisted his arm hard enough yet.
There's enough going on.
I get it. I get it. People are like, are you on TikTok? And I'm like, I mean, yes.
It is a lot of work,
I like a platform that I can post once and it goes to everything and I don't have to do it 20,000 times. That's awesome. So, again, super excited because you guys have played with us a lot. You played, I think back when we were...
I guess we have.
When we were in North Wales, you did the radio show with Billy.
Yep.
Remember that?
Was in North Wales.
Yeah.
North Wales,
Yeah. That was 2012 probably.
I think we actually got more than just coffee then. I think there was M&Ms and a couple sandwiches.
There was. I remember at the time, Mick used to have a rider.
I was in the riding.
Mick used to have a rider. He would always get peanut M&Ms and a Diet Coke.
Now I get... You want
They'll
coffee?
Be here
you want it
18th.
fucking
It'll
cold?
Be here
No,
No, that's not what I said. I said, do you want something to drink? And you said coffee. And I said, the barista's not here. And then I offered Mick tea because I knew that that's what he wanted.
Hey.
But it was just more me,
It's
busting your balls.
Very hurtful.
But again, you guys have played with us a lot. We're super excited to have you back.
We love playing here.
It's always a good time, right?
We want deeper discounts, though. I gotta be honest with you.
You want deeper discounts on what? On the vinyl?
No, I'm teasing.
We will offer deeper discounts when you buy in
more.
bulk.
Right.
I'm hoping to sell in bulk.
Is that right? Yeah. So join us on March. The 17th, you're at the Nail, right?
At the Nail, doing our St. Patty's Day show. Yep.
Yes. Who are you playing with? Do you know yet?
We are playing with Seventh Chaos. We are playing with Leopard Monks. They're from New York. And we're playing with Gutter Royal.
Okay. And they're all
original
bands.
All original.
And in the same vein?
It's hard rock to almost, I guess it would be death metal. Yeah.
All right. So you can check them out there, but I think you should come here. BYOB, it's $10 at the door. 100% of the proceeds go to the Laurel House. We're going to be a drop-off station for their supplies. We'll be posting their wish list. But follow them. They do a great job of curating content, releasing their videos. And they're just they're a good time. They're a great time. We love to go see them when they play up at Reverb. I like seeing you up on a big stage. Yeah.
The dream you had.
We look like
the dream I had when I was a 13-year-old girl. Yeah. You notice, though, I'm always on his side of the stage.
It's whatever. I don't care. I don't.
Well, I do. One of my favorite pictures ever, though, is that I took of you and you're wearing your Vinyl Closet T-shirt. I love that picture of you. So I love that you guys are repping us when you're out of the country or when you're just playing some other places. You always have that dialogue with us. You'll reach out. Do you want to sponsor? Sometimes we can, sometimes we can't, but we love to promote, and this was no different. So thank you guys.
Thanks
Come
for
out
having
and
us.
see them. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Come out and see them on March 18th. The show, doors open at 6:30. Bad Karma goes on at 7, from 7 to 7:45. They're going to play from probably like 8:30 to 10:30 or 11. We'll figure the semantics of that out. But join us, and thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Pleasure.
Aw.
So
All right.
awkward.
Take care, guys.